Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here for today. Oh, what can I say? We have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the one and only, the legendary Dave. How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. And well, what better way to have an incredible starting out for the weekend, and a cool evening than to be chatting with someone as badass as you. You know what I mean?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
I got to say, I love what you do. I've been checking out your work since you reached out, and I think it's a really cool podcast. You do a really great job. You have some fantastic questions. You have some awesome guests. I'm really impressed.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and I'm also happy that you like the content. It means a lot. So
yeah,
let's dig in here. So before we start, I do want to thank those who are tuning in. If you're new to the channel, well, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. Helps a lot. But most important, in the description below, you're gonna find all of Dave's social media. Now let's find out why he's super badass. Now, without further more, let's jump in here. So I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, what initially drew you to pursue acting as a career?
Yeah, it's I started out when I was younger, was in high school, university, and took 30 years off, went back to just raised a family, kids, and did the corporate career, and then sat back and reassessed things a few years ago and said, yeah, man, what do I want to do? And when I closed my eyes and I thought about where I want to be, the image I got was being backstage in one of the plays that I did and just waiting for the curtain to open. And I thought, oh, damn. How did I miss that? So I let that escape from my life. So I took it back, and ever since I haven't looked back.
There you go. Epic start.
Yeah,
absolutely. And tell me, focusing a little bit, on your acting career now. Tell me, how do you approach preparing for a new role? Is there a specific technique or method that you find most effective?
Yeah, I think every actor's got to find the thing that works for them, and there's going to be a ton of advice out there and different ways to do it. All of it's valid. All of it works. But for me, I think that the most important part to remember is that what's going to affect it is the amount of time that you have to prepare. Sometimes you get very little time, and you can't do all of the wonderful textbook things that they would have you do. So you have to pick what's the most important part. So given the time, I'm going to make sure that I take the script, and I'm going to first take a look at what's outside of the script. What are we talking about for the time period? What can we go and learn to get ourselves into that right head frame? Right mindset. Then start going through the script and just read it once, just to read it. Then the second time, read it and start to analyze and break it down. Take a look for going through it one time to make a note of everything that's said about my character, everything that my character might say about someone else, and just go through and start making notes of different reads of it and different versions of the script and try and digest it and break it down. And then beyond that, start making notes as far as thinking about your intentions, thinking about your underlying meanings behind all the different lines that you're saying. If you have that kind of time to break it all down, one thing that I would definitely say to anybody who's absolutely starting out would be that you are going to have so much more fun the more prepared you are. If you can walk in and you know it cold and you know it so well that you can take the most important last step, which is throw it all away. Forget it all when you walk on set. Forget it all when you walk on stage, and just go out there and have fun. If you can do the prep and make sure that you're ready for it in advance, you're going to have a great time.
There you go. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you how do you balance portraying a character authentically while still bringing your own unique style and personality to the role at the same time?
Yeah. So in some acting classes that I've been taking recently, what I noticed was every time I would bring a character to class, he would sort of bounce off it. The instructor would sort of go, no. People are calling you in. You have a type. People are bringing you in to read for a part because they see what they want. So if you come in and I'm going to try and pretend like I'm a surfer dude, nobody's going to believe that. So you have to make sure you take a look at the character, look at the part, and find the things in there that connect with me. So to be perfectly honest, it's absolutely finding a character, but at the same time, it's finding, more importantly, where the character and I can meet. What do we have in common? And where can we connect up so that it's probably mostly me, but then bringing in the aspects of what the character needs to do, what the character's ambitions are, what the character's goals are. But I'm generally not going to show up with somebody who's completely not me. I mean, there are times you have to do that, but it's extremely rare. Generally, you have a look, you have a style, you have a tone, you have a sound, and that's what they're bringing you in for. So don't radically change it to try and be Jim Carrey when you're not Jim Carrey,
Yeah, it's basically all about being yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Find where the character and you meet.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. And have you ever experienced a breakthrough moment where a role or performance yeah, like impacted you in your personal growth and at the same time as an actor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, every experience is an opportunity to grow. You're with people all around you that are so incredibly talented, and like never overlook anyone on set. Even a person playing the smallest part may have just left a leading role on a huge film, and then they're standing next to you in a very small part. So you just, as long as you're open to learning from everyone around you, you're going to have a fantastic experience every time. Two that jump out to mind would be just finished a musical called May We All in December here in Calgary, and it was an incredible growth opportunity. I was partnered with an incredible co-star, Amanda Ray, and she was able to really unlock all the truths of all the moment. And so every
Mhm.
single scene that we would work through, we would find a completely natural way to bring this little family that we were representing forward. And it was absolutely life changing. So that by the time we got on stage with those roles, we were 100% those characters. And it was just an absolutely incredible experience. So
Mhm.
in that case, I was Harley Coates in May We All, which is a newer country music musical that you can find popping up all over the U.S. now. We did the Canadian premiere of it back in December. So anyway, that's definitely one where I was just open to learning from the people around me instead of going in there thinking I knew everything. And
Yeah.
that's what made it such a great experience.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you can tell like whenever you are watching a performance and there's like this good communication like between the whole crew, and the actors and everything, and you can totally tell, you can totally tell like this is, you have like this feeling, you know what I mean, that
Mhm.
that it just feel, I mean, you just feel connected like instantly, and I do think that whenever that happens, that's when you just really enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, you are focusing on the moment because you are invested to it. Like the fact that you are seeing everyone so invested to present it to the audience that is instantly that when you're watching it, you're like, you know what, I love this. You forget about time basically, and I love that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that paying attention to everybody around you, did a TV pilot this past summer. And when I did that, I remember observing the lead actor, and I just observed and learned so much about how he treated everybody around him. He knew every single cast and crew member's name, called them by name, addressed them, and he came in so prepared that you never caught him preparing. He never had to think about his lines. He wasn't looking at his script. He was just engaging and creating an atmosphere for everybody around them. So that's kind of what you're talking about. You really feel that atmosphere when
Hmm.
somebody's really investing in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
tell me, like, what do you find most rewarding about being an actor, both personally and at the same time professionally?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, yeah, I think that probably the thing that I enjoy the most about it is the opportunity to grow and to learn and to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And I'm a little bit connecting to the last answer, but beyond anything else, connecting with the amazing people around me and learning from them. Being in in a creative pursuit, to walk out with a fully prepared idea and a fully prepared character, you know exactly what you're going to bring to that scene. And then as soon as you lock eye contact with the person they hired to play opposite you, everything changes. And that's got to be one of the most exciting things and most rewarding things. It's just being open to that moment. I can think of times in the feature film that I shot this past summer, where I had read the script, I had rehearsed a scene, and I thought that my character did not like this guy. And I had tone and I had read it. But as soon as I looked at the actor that they had hired to play opposite me on the day of the set, I realized, oh, wow, I completely read this wrong. And it changed every single read of every single line just by being open to receiving what you're getting from the other actor. So, without a doubt, that's my favorite part of all of it.
There you go. Okay. And how do you navigate the highs and the lows of the whole, entertainment industry? And what advice, yeah, like what would you, yeah, like what type of advice would you give to aspiring actors who are facing, like the similar challenges?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all seeing advice now where the greats out there are saying you can't wait for somebody to give you permission to act. You shouldn't be waiting to do what you love to do. I took a week-long master class with Larry Moss, one of the great acting coaches out there right now this year. And one of the things that he told us to do was work on 3 monologues at a time, do them for 90 days, do them in every different way possible, and then retire them and pick up new monologues. And so it's an example where today on my Instagram, I threw up one of those monologues, filmed it, edited it, put it up there. So today I didn't have anything to do for anybody else. So I did something for me.
Mm.
So anytime that I'm not on set, I'm planning for a film that I'm going to be filming this summer. We're casting for actors that are going to be working in that. So I think Just keep trying to find ways that you can get involved with other people's projects, network and collaborate, and look for stuff on all the different acting websites that you can get into. Who cares if it's free? Just sign up and do it. Audition for it, submit, whether it's voiceover, whether it's commercials, whether it's singing, if you're prone to be able to do that, whether it's acting or a student film, it doesn't matter. Network, meet people, and just do it. Don't wait for permission for somebody to hire you. Probably the most frustrated actors are the ones that tend to just audition and wait.
Mhm.
Be doing something, be doing everything else. And I think you'll find it a lot more rewarding.
Yeah, that's true. I remember back when I started that there were like a lot of actors that, at that time COVID was, still around. And I remember that there were some actors who they starting out writing, and they were producing like their own play, and they were producing like
Yeah.
their own, yeah, like their own content, short films, things like that. And at the same time, it was what I ended up discovering is that like a lot of people were able to kind of create like this community. I need cameras. Let's find someone who can make that happen.
Yeah.
Lightning, like the whole set and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that is also one of the, yeah, yeah. I think at the end of the day, that was kind of at the same time, it showed us how important films, like art in general, we need them, and it was incredible, like the amount of content that even though that everyone was still locked inside, they were like releasing stuff, reels, plays, books sometimes even, and I find that pretty, like pretty cool, the fact that they were able to, I mean, not only to stay in the acting, but to expand themselves to kind of create more, no more people, as you were saying, like networking and all of that. So,
Yeah, exactly right. Like if I have as I'm building up my resume and building my contacts, if I have a day off, there's an expression I often use. Many people around me have heard me say, if they're filming something or shooting something, I'll just come make the coffee. I'll just come hang out. Just let me, if you need extra pair of hands, I'll just come and do that. And it's incredible what you learn and who you meet. And you never know which I'd also say that everything is an interview. Everything is an interview. Every
mm,
minute on set, every time you're out, even if it's in an industry event, if you're meeting someone, talking to someone, it's always an interview. So make a good impression, gain friendships, support their stuff, be interested in their stuff, offer to help, and you never know where that next job is going to come from.
there you go. All right. Now, what role do you believe storytelling plays in society? And how do you see the actor's role in shaping narratives?
Oh, that's incredible. I think that society is often defensive and uninsightful.
Mm,
And so what it takes is something like an actor putting something up on screen before they start to see the mirror that is themselves in something. I have watched a movie and then realized something in myself that I need to work on because I'm watching, De Niro or DiCaprio or someone hits a note and you kind of go, oh, wow, that's me. Like that's something that I need to work on. And so I think that it's a non-offensive way. It's not somebody telling you, hey, you need to work on this or you need to think about this. It's just something where you can put that art up in front of someone and it will challenge them in a way to start to think and start to improve and be open to it. So I think it's
mm,
very, very important. And also, I think when it comes to something like live theater, which I'm extremely passionate about and I hope to always be involved in, live theater is an opportunity for people to enjoy things as a group. And there's a different dynamic there. And I know people are trying to push people back to the movie theaters and they'll say
mm,
that there's a different experience enjoying it as a group. But live theater too has a whole different message and meaning and
yeah.
aspect of community. When you leave after watching live theater, you feel like you were a part. You grew a little bit with the other 300-400 people in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I went once to a live theater, and I remember that when it was all over, and and everyone was leaving. I was with a friend of mine back then, and I was just telling, like, like this feeling, like for example when someone visited, yeah, well, like when someone visited you and they're leaving, after a
Mm-hmm.
couple of days, and you have like this feeling, like kind of nostalgic feeling, like, I wish you could stay more, like things like that. And
Yep.
I remember that was yeah, like there's so many incredible things that with, theater, films, TV, like all of that. I mean, the fact that you can get, yeah, like the fact that you can get the chance to make someone, yeah, like make somebody else feel different, like feel like true emotions. I mean, I do think that sometimes we take that for granted, you
Yeah.
know, and but yeah, just incredible. I remember also a couple of months ago when I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and I was just crying. like the basically half of the movie, I was just crying, and in my head I was like, I can't believe that I'm crying about a CGI raccoon. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense at all. But like the whole
Yeah.
story, like the way they are playing everything, it's everything on spot, and the fact that they can make you feel like real emotions to it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, what you're feeling is real. So I find that pretty amazing at the end of the day. So
It's a low cost way to really connect with your feelings.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And moving forward a little bit on your whole acting career. I mean, we all
Yeah.
know that you are an incredible badass musician, right? So tell me, like, how would you describe your musical style or genre, and what influences have you shaped your sound?
Yes, I'd say musician is probably a stretch. I definitely am a singer. I've been working very, very hard on that for years now, working with multiple vocal coaches at the same time. And it's always humbling because
Mm,
every time you unlock or achieve something new, you enter a new room where people are again more talented than you, and you're humbled again, and you realize, oh, I have so much more work to do. So that's kind of
yeah,
been my journey for the past 2, 3 years. You get on a bigger stage, you get with a bigger company, you get in a bigger performing live performance group, and you're humbled again at how incredible the people are around you. But I did lose the original question that you asked. Maybe repeat it for me, make sure I
yeah,
can catch.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, yeah, like how you balance staying like true to your own singing,
Yeah,
like to your style, let's say, and
yeah,
at the same time like shaping your own, like for example, let me rephrase again. So how you yeah like so how you maintain your whole musical style, like you're singing, and at the same time keep shaping it and growing it into something more.
yeah. I think honestly, all I have been doing so far, my writing partner and I have released our first song. We're finishing up the album, our first album now. Most of what I've been training for musically has been more for musical theater, for stage and whatnot, for singing. Plus my YouTube channel, where you can see my entire singing journey for the last, 3, 4 years, building up to the newest songs today, and some ability. I think that my style is changing and exploring all the time. You're going through a country phase, going through a Broadway phase, going through pop phase, and just trying all of it on for the different things that I might need to do.
Mm,
Especially as it connects to acting or theater or film, or if somebody wants you to do a song for them, you never know what direction it's going to come from. So I'm always expanding into other genres, which kind of makes you a jack of all trades, master of none, for sure. But I think that when a song touches you, it touches you, and it doesn't matter what what
totally.
what genre it's from. But yeah, I think so. Uh, what I'll do when someone challenges me to do a song or I have to perform it, I've done some concert hall performances and whatnot with an incredible group here at a couple of features where I got to be front and center, which was amazing. I think that the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the song from the original, and I'm going
Mm,
to work on those intonations and those sounds that the audience is used to. So there's a little bit of mimicry there, but you don't want to do that when you perform it. So you just, in the beginning, I'm learning the song that way. And then eventually I'll record the song myself and then learn it to myself and start to eject the sound of the original artist and just make it more true to myself. At some point, halfway through the learning, you say, okay, that's how, Kenny Rogers sings it. How does Dave sing it? And then that's where you have to transform into before you're going to perform it.
okay, okay. And how you prepare before, going on stage? Do you have what a specific, like what is your thing here before, put your mind to it and just go for it?
Yeah. So what I said a little bit earlier connects here too, is that I'm going to have so much of a better time if I'm so well prepared that I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to look at the
Mm,
notes that I do happen to have written down in my pocket, any of the couple trouble lines or whatever. They're there just as my little safety blanket, but I never pull them out. But the best thing that I can do is be so prepared that when I walk in, I'm simply feeding off of the energy of the people around me and talking and engaging with them. I'm at my worst if I'm over in the corner trying to, read some lines and try and remember where we're going to be at.
yeah.
You know that you're really in the zone when you're just open to the experience and enjoying it. And the last thing in the world is what's on your mind. I remember the first time that I did a solo feature in a packed concert hall. The spotlight's on you. You can hear the bars. It's 12 bars until you have to open the first line. I got the choir backing me up. I'm standing front and center, and I can hear those bars ticking by. And I know I have no clue what the first line of the song is. It just left my brain.
Yeah.
But being so relaxed that by the time that 12th bar comes, it'll come back. So just being so prepared that you can then forget it all and enjoy the people, enjoy the experience, and just look right into the eyes of the audience members and just perform for them, sing for them, make them comfortable and enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to enjoy it, you know. And I find amazing whenever you just that you just lose yourself to it, and then you realize a couple of hours later, you know, once you're at home, and you're like, I just can't believe that a couple of hours I was just doing this, and now, you know what I mean? Like that
It's so
feeling,
true. That's
you
so
know,
true.
like
Now,
time
now I'm
passed, like
home taking out the garbage, right?
yeah, like time just go like
He's
super
just on
fast,
stage.
and
Yeah.
once you realize, you're like, huh,
Yeah.
okay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
that is amazing.
I remember the first time that it's kind of related to what you're saying, but just I remember the first time walking out onto stage saying like, okay, just look above the audience. Look at that exit sign. Just don't look at the audience because it might freak you out. I don't know how you're gonna feel. And then walked out and was kind of like, I don't feel anything. I feel fine. I just feel ready. I
Mm,
feel prepared. So then started to look at the audience and started to make eye contact with some of them. And then you kind of go like, and then what thrilled me the most and told me that I was in the right place was the thought that I had looking at one guy we connected. And I thought, oh man, it's cool. That seat looks really comfortable, but it's so much better up here. And that's when I knew I was in the right place.
there you go. Okay. And yeah, like what would you say is the most challenging aspect of being a singer?
Um, I think especially being one that is still a journeyman, still learning and still growing,
Yeah.
is that every single piece still challenges me. And I need to make sure that I'm disciplined about the approach to the song, that I'm open and humble and accept feedback. You know, every time you think you've got a song on lock, somebody with more ability than you is going to point out, it's a little bit flat. So
Yeah.
to remain open yet confident. Someone said once that I don't remember who it was to attribute it to, but an actor has to wear a thick suit of armor and then drop it all immediately and perform and then put it all back on right afterwards. And a singer kind of has to do that too. So
Mm,
one of the most challenging things about that is that you have to have the confidence to stand out there and do it. Not only that, but if you're going to be a performer, not just a singer, you have to sell that confidence to the people. They have to feel like they're in good hands when you
yeah.
walk out there. And this is all coaching that I've had over the years. But you also, while you're in that process, you can't be stopped or stumped or
Mm.
hurt or quit when somebody says, you know, you really don't have this song. And that's happened definitely more than once.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, like how you handled, like, you know, like that side, you know, criticism, negative feedback, you know, like what strategies, or like what is your thing to stay, yeah, like stay motivated and confident in your work in general.
Oh, I mean, there's been times that it has knocked me back. There's been absolutely times that I felt like, okay, I'm just going to hang up the cleats. I'm just going to retire,
Yeah.
you know, because somebody really important to me might have said, you know, hey, this really needs work. And but uh, if you need to take a couple of day break, do it. But then bounce back and just realize that there's some truth to it. So even if the person was coming at you more aggressive than they needed to, or if you're on film and the director is coming at you like a tank, like I've had a German director yelling at me 2 inches from my face for 10, 15 minutes at a time. Not fun, you know, or when it
Yeah,
comes
no.
to singing, have somebody that you really respect tell you that that was really a poor performance. But there's a kernel of truth to all of it. So if
Mhm.
you can just put the embarrassment and frustration aside and realize that you're doing something that is incredibly subjective, somebody else out there enjoyed it, and it's something that is you're incredibly vulnerable. So if you just open yourself up and say, okay, something they're trying to tell me is truth, and in a couple of days when I can just cool and relax a little bit, I'm going to go try and go back to the studio and I'm going to think about what that was, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
try and learn from it. But no question, it knocks you back for a day or two. You should allow that.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I have, um, like a year ago, this actor that I'm a huge fan of. I remember, like, huge fan. I was a huge fan of, and yeah, so I sent them, like, you know, like the whole, you know, message and everything. And I remember that he was saying like, you know, I don't do I remember that that he said, I don't do interviews for poor shows. I just do the
Ooh,
big, you know, I just do the big
wow.
leagues. And I was like, okay. And yeah, it felt bad, but I was like, you know what? Screw it. What I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna work my butt off on this thing, and whenever this
Yeah.
thing becomes big, if he wants to come back, I'll be like, you know what? No,
And
not anymore. You know what I
he
mean?
doesn't know. He doesn't know what this show is going to be tomorrow. He doesn't know where this is going to go. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, you win nothing by being arrogant. Just be open and enjoy the people around you. I remember I was in a play one time, and I was one of the main characters, and there was a person sitting next to me that only had a couple of lines in the entire show. But when it came to a musical piece, I could tell that they were incredibly informed about the musicality of the piece. And I sort of remember she was sitting in a chair, and I looked down at her and I said, "Wow, you know what you're talking about." And she just opened up, and she had 3 degrees in music. She had her master's, she had done huge musicals, and she had 3 lines in this play. So it's just a matter of like, I have no idea who I'm sitting next to. I have no idea how big you're going to be. I have no idea who I'm talking to. So you win nothing by just shooting that person down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Also, an actor once told me when I asked him what would be the best advice, for aspiring actors, and he kept it super simple. He was like, just don't be a dick, you'll be fine. You
That's
know what I
beautiful.
mean?
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Because you never
That's
know.
absolutely beautiful. I love
And I
it.
was like, interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. People have to want you on set. People have to enjoy being around you. Both whether it's for theater or for film, when they're interviewing you, a part of what they're doing when you're doing your audition is they need to know, do I want to spend the next 30, 40 days with this guy? Do I want this energy on my set?
Yeah.
Um, Kind of a funny story. A TV pilot that I did, they had pursued me for a tape, and I was incredibly busy, so I wasn't able to submit it. Finally, the director chased me down and said, "Hey, jerk, I'm trying to give you a show here. Would you please submit a tape?" So I did, and I was proud of the auditions that I had submitted. And he told me probably like 10 months later, after we were just chatting after the shoot was done, and he said, "You know why you got that job, right?" And I said, "No, I have no idea." And he said, "Because of Springtime for Hitler." And I said, "What are you talking about?" So on my YouTube channel, I had done Springtime for Hitler, which is a Mel Brooks song from The Producers.
Yeah.
And I had done it just being ridiculously silly and kind of putting myself out there. And I had done it for a theater audition, and I posted it on my YouTube channel, mostly laughing at myself while doing it. And I said, "What are you talking about? I never sent you that." And he said, "Well, what we got was we got your audition for Himmler, and it was dark and heavy, like a Nazi officer. And we did your audition for John, the character you ended up getting. And we thought, okay, so he can be sweet and light, and he can be dark and heavy. Who is this guy?" So we started to search you out on social media, and we came across Springtime for Hitler. And as soon as we saw that energy, we said, "That's our guy. We want to hang out
Yeah.
with that guy." So you never know
Yeah,
what's
you
going
never
to get
know.
you the part. But it was just the fact that they thought, okay, we could have fun and spend time with that guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, and I do think like whenever those moments happen is like life is telling you you're in the right path. I have discovered that whenever you're on the wrong path, life will keep sending you messages everywhere until you finally until you figure out like, hey, you
I
need to
like
do
that.
you need to do something different. I mean, it has happened to me like a lot of times. Like whenever I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna quit for now. I'm done. Like for whatever reason, and then a couple of hours later, or even a couple of days later, some people that I send them messages like years back, they come back and be like, "Hey, you know what? I love it. Let's make it happen. I love what you. Things that perhaps for someone would be like, it is what it is. But I take those things like, I mean, I do think that that is something beautiful about life that sometimes we don't pay attention to it. That is kind of sending us sometimes messages that where we should be. And even though it's telling us where we should be, it's up to us to keep working on it or
Hmm.
not do anything about it. You know what I
That's
mean?
beautiful. Like that actually inspires me because um, I'm willing to do anything and everything. We're doing voiceover and
Yeah,
commercials and songs and acting and whatever. And you just never know where the next fun, inspiring project is going to come from.
totally.
And you're right. Sometimes you got to put something down for a while, but something still comes of it. I think it's a beautiful story.
Yeah. And like in general, like what motivates you? As we were saying, we all have those days that we just want to quit. It's inevitable. So how you stay yourself, yeah, yeah, yeah. So how you stay positive in a moment that perhaps in your personal life might be challenging, difficult here and there. Like how you keep up focus on a time like that.
For me, it's I, I am almost never depressed or slowed down or by anything. I have, and I'll answer the question better in a second. But where
Yeah,
that, but so what that means is that I always have more energy and more time. I firmly believe there's no such thing as not having enough time for something, whether it's someone important or something or a project you want to try. If you want to write your next movie, there's no time. There's no time to write it. Just doesn't exist. So just write a page, write half a page, write a synopsis, sit down and start it. And so I've got my hands in so many things on any given day I'm doing, whether it's, voiceover, commercial, or whatever somebody will let me go and play with is what's important. But what keeps me going is the people that I meet, talking to you, talking to that actor on set, reading somebody's work because they enjoyed you and they feel safe with you. So they want to send you something that they wrote. And then you're inspired by that. And you're like, this has to be made. Let's figure this
Mhm.
out. I know a guy with a camera, like, I know a guy with some money. Let's go and get this done. And so 100% without question, I named my YouTube channel OTSO Giants, which means on the shoulders of giants. And so all I'm saying is that everything that I do, everything that I learn is because I'm standing on the shoulders of all these cool, amazing people around me. So without a doubt, it's meeting the people, getting these new perspectives, gaining new skill sets and observing and learning and getting energy from them so that I never sit still for a day. I don't have to.
That's badass. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'll take it. And my last question, so we can all enjoy and relax after a couple of difficult ones here and there. Tell me,
Yeah.
what do you think that would be the best title for this episode?
Oh, wow. Um, so one thing that comes to mind would be, I mean, take nothing for granted, or you never know
Huh?
where that next opportunity is going to come from, or everything's an interview, or I know you didn't want five titles, but or just appreciate and enjoy the people around you. Like it's just that simple. Be open and enjoy. If you don't enjoy the people that you're standing next to, whether it's you're working in background on a movie and
Mhm.
it's those are long, painful, boring days. So if you don't, when you're sitting there waiting for them to call you, if you don't start chatting with the people around you and just build up a friendship and a relationship, then you're in the wrong place. So, and then the last possible title might be "You Gotta Love It" because this is
You gotta
exhausting.
love it.
This is all hustle all the
Yeah.
time, and if you want, I think the days of just being an actor are over. And I'm not the first one to say that. There's famous people that have said that, but you got to be open to all these other projects, and you got to hustle, 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 and take whatever opportunities are there. And you never know where it'll lead. So somewhere in that ramble is got to be a title. What do
There
you
you
think?
go.
What do you think it should be called?
Let's keep it simple. Live a little.
Nice. I like it. I like it. That
Live
works
a
too.
little. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Simple, catchy. I mean,
Yep. Love it.
and it kind of sum up everything here and there. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, back when I started this, there was this actress, like the first actress that I've interviewed, and back then I was a huge fan of. I mean, I'm still. I mean, I love her. She's incredible. And so I sent her a message back then. And back then she was famous of doing the voiceover from a famous video game that was released, right?
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Let's make this happen now. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. So I sent the message and I was like, I'm just gonna send them to the whole cast from that video game. And at first I was like, come on. I mean, I'm just starting out. I don't have no work before. I haven't studied anything. So I'm super sure that perhaps they're not gonna even check this out. But let's see what happens. Send a message like to the whole cast, and one of them answered back. And then she was like, you know what? I love the idea. Let's make it happen. We did that interview. That was my first one. Boy, I was just sweating the whole time, mixing up words. Back then I used to do it like on Instagram live. So I remember that we starting and then 500 people at once.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
super
pressure.
it was super challenging. Didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
And I would just keep mixing up words, sweating the whole time. Anyway, so we finished the interview and then I was like, oh crap. And then she was like, you know what? I love it. It was really cool, but let me just ask you one thing. Do you want to do this as a career or just as, hobby every now and then?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, no, I'm looking for the long run here. I'm looking for a career. And then she was like, good, because let me just tell you one thing. One, that there's gonna be like a lot of sacrifices. There's gonna be a lot of moments, a lot of hard moments, a lot of moments in which you're gonna be questioning yourself if you should continue doing it or not, moments in which you are not gonna perhaps be able to, to be with friends and family because you are working on your craft, but not take it the wrong way because at the same time you are meeting new people, you are learning from them, you are having fun, and most important, remember to have fun, and that has stick with me for even to this day, and it's true. Like whenever you are having fun to it, yeah, and
Mhm.
having the chance like to meet new people and to discover like a little bit from their backgrounds and everything, and it's interesting because even though that perhaps we have nothing in common, totally different countries, culture, everything, But when talking about this kind of topics, it's like we found common ground and we basically go from there. And I find that pretty cool. And I do think that people should be focusing a little bit more into enjoy life and do something they want to, you know?
Yeah.
And perhaps
Yeah.
that could be like a little bit, perhaps some people might say, like, oh, so you want me to quit my job and just to have a leap of faith? No, of course not. But just you can starting
Yeah.
in your free time. You can, instead of sleeping, after work, try to work a little bit on your passion that you are having about, and at some point, who knows? So
Totally. And if you want to out hustle somebody else who's doing this, yeah, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice. She's exactly right. You put so many hours and so much time into it. You have to love it. You have to love what you're doing.
yeah,
I remember when I'm on film, it always makes me laugh when a director says, "Could I get one more?" And I go, "Dude, like I would stand in a bucket of shit and do this for the next 12 hours because we're making a movie. So yes, you can have one more. You can have 20 more. It's just because you just love what you're doing. So it doesn't
there
matter
you
how
go.
long it takes."
There you go. I mean, at the end, what can I say, man? I mean, it's incredible what you do. It's badass for sure. I mean, now we discover why you're super badass, and that's super cool. And I'm super sure that our next conversation at some point will be about the multiple thousand projects, because the fact that you are loving it and the fact that you're having fun, and I think that's the most important. I mean, as I was saying before, I mean, sometimes we, the audience, can totally tell whenever there is like a real performance and a kind of a fake performance going on here. I mean, you feel it. And it's really cool what you're doing, and yeah, like the fact that you keep hustling, have the fact that you keep working on it, like no matter what. I think that's inspirational for everyone too, who is listening to this or even watching this, to be like, you know what, if he's doing it, I can do it too. So
there's a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff I can't talk about yet, and some things that are just in post and on the way, and I hope everybody loves all that when it comes out, and we get to keep doing it.
sounds like a plan. And as I was saying here, thank you so much, man, for making this happen. I also want to thank those who tune in here the whole episode. Thank you so much. Now, as I said in the beginning, in the description below, you're gonna find all of Dave's social media. And since we discover why he's super badass, let's make him viral. Hashtag Team Dave. What can I say? And again, thank you for making this happen, man. Have an incredible upcoming weekend. Keep rocking, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you again.
All right.